Lights, camera, rolling, action. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
He's looking at you, kid.
Say hello to my little friend!
Hi, this is Joe, and this is the Film Joe Podcast, where film talk happens.
1, 2, 3, 4!
Hi, I'm Joe, your host, and I'm here with Daisy.
Hey, how's it going?
And welcome to the podcast where we talk about films, filmmakers, trends, the good, the bad, and the not so bad, all in the spirit and for the love of film. So this week, we will be covering films that had intended sequels, but they never happened for whatever reason. Whether it sucked or not enough money, actor died. There's a bunch of different factors involved, but we're going to get into a couple of good ones here.
All right, sounds good. Can't wait.
All right. So before we continue, just keep in mind, we're not professional film critics here. We don't pretend to be. We just love to talk film. So if you don't like our opinion, oh, well. There you go. All righty. So based on the film, we'll give a rating based on the film.
Can I come up with the what we're gonna use to rate them?
Okay. All right. I'll give them to you. All right. So right before we give the intro, you let us know what we're going to rate these on.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. All right. Yeah, because actually I came up with some pretty lame ones. So.
Okay.
But overall, now everybody listening, keep in mind, if you hear a dog whining or barking in the background, yeah, I just got a new dog.
I still find that hilarious.
Yeah, so she may make an appearance on the podcast. But yeah, just keep that in mind. I can't put a muzzle on her or anything or throw her in the closet. That's just cruel.
Poor thing.
All righty, so let's go ahead and dive into this episode.
Okay, all right, let's go.
All right, so like I said, sometimes there are some great films that you go they needed a sequel, or some bad films you go it didn't need a sequel. But overall, there are a lot of films that just don't generate the sequel that we expect. So for the first one, we're going to do Daisy. What is the scale of 1 to 10? The Film Joe scale.
All right. Well, which one are we doing first?
We're gonna do Mrs. Doubtfire.
Okay, so for the rating scale, we're gonna go with Granny Panties.
Wow. Okay, I could not have come up with a better one myself. That's disturbing and it's cool. I like. Okay.
There you.
All right, so let's get on with it. So put on your wig, fake boobies, and a dress.
Hello? I'm Euphigenia Doubtfire, dear.
Bon appetit!
It's homework time.
You can't imagine what it was like being married to Daniel.
Well, he sounds like an absolute stallion.
Hello, dear!
After a bitter divorce, an actor disguises himself as a female housekeeper to spend time with his children, who are held in custody by his former wife. As we've mentioned, the movie we're talking about is Mrs. Doubtfire from 1993 and is directed by Chris Columbus. The film stars Robin Williams, Sally Field, and Pierce Brosnan. So let's get some takes on this. It had been a while since I've seen this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie. I had my eyes watering like a little bitch every 10 minutes.
Yep.
It's a touching movie. I totally forgot.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very, it's heartwarming and it's touching and it's pretty deep. It has some pretty interesting themes going on and a message behind it that's really important, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's essentially, I think, a comedy, and it's freaking hilarious without being goofy and silly.
Right. And that right there is a testament to the brilliance that Robin Williams was.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, definitely. He actually, I mean, he would do, like scenes. It would go like 20 takes before 22 takes before he actually got it right.
right, and I'm sure every take was freaking hilarious.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, this movie we talked about. Like, well, unfortunately, we had to watch Howard the Duck last week. Which was a so-called comedy, and I barely chuckled. This movie had me laughing.
Yeah.
And there was parts where I was genuine chuckles from the gut.
Hmm.
It's a great film. And in the subtext behind it or the story, you basically got a father who loves his children so much that even if he's not able to be there, he's going to be there in the form of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, it's very heartbreaking. And I felt totally territorial with the family when his ex-wife is sent, she moves on and finds his hunky guy in the form of Pierce Brosnan, and you want to hate him, you really want to hate him, but you really can't because he's genuinely a great partner for Miranda and he loves these kids.
Yeah, it's cool how they didn't portray him as an asshole or jerk, which it's a typical device, a plot device in many films. It's called a foil, technically. And, to make our hero look better, we're going to make this guy look like a complete asshole. No, he was just a guy. He was and he was a nice guy.
Yeah,
And
he
you
was.
and you're right that there's scenes where you see him as Mrs. Doubtfire, seeing his family moving on without him.
That's painful. That
Oh,
is, oh God, that's so painful. I felt his pain.
yeah, and you get those close-ups of Robin Williams, even though he's under tons of makeup, you see the expression in his eyes.
Yes, yes. Hmm.
The film, as serious as it could be at times, and as heartbreaking and as touching, there were moments were just downright hilarious and brilliantly funny. The reveal in the
Oh my God, the freaking reveal.
Oh my god! So basically, Robin Williams he gets revealed as Mrs. Doubtfire slash Daniel at a restaurant where the gig is up, and it's it was hilarious. It
Oh
was
God.
it was heartbreaking, and it was horrifying all at the same time.
Yeah, and I love how they paced it. It starts off, oh my God, in the beginning when the kids, I think they go off to the bathroom and the other kids, they go pick up some desserts, and oh my God, he is just trying to put all kinds of things into the new boyfriend's head. What was it that she had some kind of
A
STD?
disease, yeah.
Oh my God, the vibrator reference. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's like, oh, she has machinery and stuff like that, and I'm surprised she hasn't chipped her teeth. It's like, oh my god.
And
And,
the look on Pierce's face was just priceless.
and you know what? I'm sure that was genuine because Robin Williams was notoriously known for just making lines up and ad-libbing on the moment.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm sure that Pierce Brosnan he didn't expect half of that shit.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Or in fact, the thing with the teeth falling out into the glass of wine.
Yeah, they weren't that was all genuine.
Yeah, and everybody's expression was like, "Oh, oh God, it was great." But and it had a lot of great gags. I mean, even the mini gags were kind of cute. Like when he's like I think it was a scene when he's walking across the street and some guy wants to mug him and take his purse.
Oh my God.
He's like, "Get off me!" I'll kick your ass. And little tiny gags like that, or the reoccurring bus driver.
Yeah, yeah, he kept on getting hit. It's like he really couldn't be offended because he was genuinely just a sweet old man that saw something, that he thought was beautiful.
Yeah. Or my favorite when he's at the by the poolside and he starts getting tipsy and drunk, and this cute chick walks over in a bikini, and he's like, "Hey," but he's Mrs. Doubtfire, and just little details like that I think just peppered the entire script and film to just augment the brilliance and the hilarity of the overall film.
Exactly. And not to mention to kind of lighten a situation that it's very hard. The divorce, the children having to deal with splitting time with the parents. That's a tough time. And I think it was really nicely lightened.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is a beautiful message, or it all comes to fruition at the end of the film when Robin Williams Daniel comes to pick up his kids to take to the park or whatever, and his show, Mrs. Doubtfire, the science or the dinosaur lady or whatever, his show was on TV,
Hmm.
and he's reading a letter from a little child whose parents are divorcing, and he gives his advice on divorced families and how it's not his fault and they still love you. Oh man, it was perfect. I mean, with that alone, this is a perfect film, I think, for children who are,
Yes.
because not only husbands and wives go through divorce, children go through it as well.
Oh, and it takes a very, very hard toll on them.
Yeah, and I think this is something that's perfect for children, because children are very impressionable and they soak it all in, and they sometimes don't see the line between reality and fiction.
Hmm.
And something like this will ring really, really true to a child, and so it's a great film, I think, in that sense.
No, yeah, great, wonderful film.
Yeah, the touching tone and the sweetness of the film. It's no coincidence. The director, Chris Columbus, he's known for doing this.
Hmm.
I mean, you have Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, 9 Months with Hugh Grant, Adventures in Babysitting. These are all fun, kind of silly, goofy movies, but they have heart and they make you think and they're touching.
Yeah, yeah, which I think is a wonderful combination.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Columbus has always been one of my favorite directors. He also did, I think, one or two Harry Potter films as well.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In fact, he was a Spielberg prodigy. And
Oh, yeah, I could totally see that.
yeah, you can definitely see the Spielberg influence. And one of his earlier projects, or one of his first films, Spielberg offered to help him out, which is great. I mean, fuck, Steven Spielberg saying, "Hey, I'll hook you up." You say, "Okay," you know.
Yeah, seriously.
But Columbus said, "Thank you so much, but I want to do this on my own."
Hmm.
And he did. He did it
He,
on his own.
he did a great job. I
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah. Now, some of the behind the scenes stuff with Robin Williams, who's just awesome. Basically, according to this one biography, while he was filming, he wanted to test out the believability of Mrs. Doubtfire and her character while wearing the costume. So he walks into an adult store to make a purchase. Okay. And he walks in, and he actually, in one occasion, he walks in and buys a large dildo and other toys, and he got away with it. I- He was like, wow. And nobody even batted an eye. He was like, oh, take the large dildo. Thank you.
Oh my God, that's one customer that sales associate is never gonna forget.
Right. Imagine, hey, by the way, that was Robin Williams. Imagine that.
No, no, not just that, just the fact that a cute little granny comes in to buy a large ass dildo. That
Wow.
I'd be dying. That
That
would be so freaking hilarious.
yeah, yeah. And and again, Robin Williams is very he was very famous for improvising on the set. When he has the icing on his face
Mm,
and it's melting off, it was not intentional. It wasn't supposed to melt off.
no.
Yeah, what it was the heat from the set lights started melting the icing, and so he just went with it. And credit to Mr. Chris Columbus, who was directing the scene. He just let it go. You know what? Let's just roll with it, and it was awesome. It was,
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
he gave him a lot of liberties to just improvise.
yeah. Well, you know what, Robin Williams, he had no choice. He's like,
Yeah, pretty much.
you can't bottle lightning unless you're filming Popeye, but that's another story. This was a huge. It was a surprise hit. I mean, this film, it came out in '93, and it was the same year as Jurassic Park. And
Oh, competition.
well, it came in at number 2, right behind Jurassic Park.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's huge. And the numbers on Jurassic Park were insane.
Oh yeah, they were.
Oh, one thing I wanted to mention was Harvey Fierstein, who plays his gay brother.
I love that man.
That guy is amazing. Unfortunately, he passed away, and I don't think he really got his chance to really make a full impact in film because he was going to be great, I think.
Oh God, yes. Oh, that's such a shame. I had no idea.
Yeah, yeah. And as the story goes, he went to one of Robin Williams' stand-up shows. Robin Williams imitated Harvey on the stage
Oh
because
no.
as we know, he had a very distinctive voice, which was like, "Oh ma, don't worry about it," you know.
Oh, okay, that was actually pretty good.
Thank you, thank you. I've been working on it. But he was so impressed with Williams's impersonation of himself that when he heard that Robin Williams was doing his new film and he had a character in there which would be his gay brother, he's like, "Fuck this," or "I gotta call him."
Oh my God, and I'm glad he did.
Yeah, he jumped on it and they gave him the role. And it was perfect. It was really perfect. A friend of mine, he used to work at an insurance claim company for auto insurance,
Mhm.
and he gets a call one day. I guess somebody wanted to put in a claim for an accident, and as soon as he picks up the phone, he hears, "Yeah, I like to put it." He hears the voice wanting to put in the claim, and he's like, "Dude, are you?" He goes, "Yeah."
Oh my God.
And he said he was such a sweetheart, such a nice guy.
Oh my God. That is so freaking cool.
Yeah, he was amazing in that, really good. But definitely, um, unfortunately, we didn't get enough of him overall because he passed so young.
Oh, such a shame. Such a shame.
Yeah, yeah. So let's go into the numbers on this one. As we mentioned, it came out the same year as Jurassic Park, and it was right behind it. So the budget at the time was about $25 million.
Wow.
Okay, which is about $44 million today. Box office at the time of release was 441 million. That's just shy of $1 billion in today's dollars.
Holy crap.
And this is a comedy, not a Marvel spectacular or special effects film. It was huge. It was so huge.
And considering that it went up against a special effects film, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it held its own. But then again, the 90s was a different, early 90s, mid 90s was a different era in cinema where people actually went to go see a movie in the theater that looked good or looked interesting versus, "Oh, this is big. This is fucking Godzilla. This is Marvel. I have a hard on. I want to see Spider-Man."
Ew.
Yeah, no, that's what the kids say nowadays.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. These kids, man. But yeah, and these movies will do really, really well. And this one was just off the charts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So reviews and scores at the time, it's a trip. I mean, as big as this movie was, there was a lot of critics that kind of unfairly and gave it, they compared it to a couple other films and they gave it unfavorable reviews based on this. They compared it to Some Like It Hot from 1959 with Tony Curtis and Jack
Love that
Lemmon.
movie.
Oh man, great movie. They also kind of compared it to Tootsie from 1982.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that this one's a totally different film, and I think it was just unfair. I remember when it came out, there's like, "Oh, another cross-dressing movie." We had Tootsie, we had this. You know, it's a
No,
different.
I think it was definitely unique. The only thing that it had in common was somebody dressing up as a woman. That's where the similarities end.
Yeah, that's about it. So at the time of release, they did a what do you call audience poll from Cinema Score, and it got an A out of an A to an F right off the bat. IMDb 7.1, Metacritic 54, critic score 70%, audience score 77%, and Letterboxd 3.6 stars out of 5. Those numbers are kind of low, I would think.
I think so. Yeah, I definitely I think it deserves better than that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it had heart, it had a message, it was funny, it wasn't stupid or over the top. It was just, it was brilliance. It was comedy genius at work.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, even in my own, this may be contested, but in my opinion, I think it's Robin Williams' finest performance.
You know what? To be honest, I think so. I have to agree with that.
Yeah, because you can go Dead Poet Society, and that he was fantastic in that.
Mhm.
Goodwill Hunting, even the underrated when as dreams come or when dreams may come.
Oh, that was an excellent movie. That was an awesome movie.
Yeah, and but here he's flexing both muscles, the comedy and the dramatic.
Yeah, and he
On
does it well.
Yeah, on so many levels, and I can't praise it enough. So, as we know, this movie was so huge, you think we would get a sequel. And yes, there was huge talk right off the bat when
Hmm.
this movie just exploded in response and the box office. There was immediate talk of a sequel. So, in this came out what 94. So in 2001, they actually began to develop a Miss Doubtfire 2.
Hmm. Yeah.
And at this time, the writer of the original, Anne Fine, she had not yet written, because there is a novel. It's called Alias Madame Doubtfire.
Hmm.
And so they started kind of putting together, and it wasn't until like, what, 2003 that they actually started writing or think about writing the sequel. And so it was in development for years. 2006, Williams was not happy with the plot or, in the new script. So they kept working at it. And finally, there was an anticipated release in late 2007. But they scrapped it soon after. And 2006, William actually said in an interview, he stated that that it just didn't work. The
Right.
story, yeah, the sequel story involved Mrs. Doubtfire moving close to Lydia near her college so he can keep an eye on her.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I think it just becomes a formulaic comedy at that point with a plot like that.
Right.
And so, also in that year, Williams said that he basically laid it out. If it's not going to be done right, it's not worth doing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, you're not gonna do it without him. So, and in 2010, Williams brought the topic up for Miss Doubtfire's sequel, and he said he blamed the fact that the script, every version just sucked, and it was just not working for him. It wasn't calling out for him. And finally, in like 2011, he's like, yeah, not gonna happen.
But then I heard that him and Chris Columbus were talking about coming back together to doing it. What, in 2014?
Yeah, 2014, exactly. And
Hmm.
they got together and they're like, working on it. And I think it had to do with there's a character, there's a woman who's actually going to look exactly as she. I don't know. It was a convoluted plot. Did but it didn't pan out either.
Well,
And
yeah, he passed away shortly after that.
yeah, and by that point, Chris Columbus he was asked about a sequel, and he said, nope, nope, no Williams, no sequel. It's not
No,
possible without him.
no, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, he was the heart and soul of the film. I mean, he's what gave me the part. He was why we laughed. He was why we cried.
Hmm.
He's why we chuckled like idiots, because it was him. So no, you can't. Kind of like the mask. Remember the mask, and there was a son of the mask,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
and they put in a different actor. No, there's a
No, you
reason.
can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why a film does so well. It's the character, the actor himself, that brings that character to life.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what do you say we jump into our ratings?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So, you go first, and we're rating on a scale of 1 to 10. Granny panties.
Granny panties. It is.
All right.
So yeah, I thought this was such an awesome movie, wonderful cast. I love Sally Fields and anything that she's ever done. I've loved her in it. Um, yeah, it's funny. It had comedy, it had drama, it had its heartbreaking moments. What I liked most about it was a lot of the times when we see movies like that, mom and dad they usually get back together, make a family again. This was more of a more realistic approach to it. They didn't end up together at the end, but there were better people They were better parents. And I like that. A lot of people can relate to this movie. Beautifully done movie. So with that being said, I tried to lowball it. I can't.
Right. It's
I
not
can't.
easy.
It's not easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it 10 granny panties.
Wow, that's a high rating. Okay,
Yeah.
I can respect that. All right, so what can you say? It was sweet, it was funny, possibly his finest role, Robin Williams, and extraordinarily insightful. The scene where, as Mrs. Doubtfire, he asks his ex-wife Miranda, played by Sally Field, what was it that didn't work between you and your husband? And he's trying to get the nitty gritty and try to, but she tells him certain truths that hurt him because they're true.
Mhm.
And like you said, it makes him a better person in moments like that. Great script. How do you grow? Tell the character the truth, but character A does not know that character B is that,
Right.
and it was just beautifully done. Definitely an insightful, touching film that a perfect family film. I'll give this 9.5 granny panties out of 10.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you say? Sequel or no sequel?
I think it was fine just the way it was. I don't see any other storyline coming close to being better than this or, at the same level at all. So I think it was fine that they left it like that.
Yeah, I agree. It says the most important things that it has to be said on a very important and delicate subject. And going any further, you strip away that message that was in the original, and all you
Mhm.
got is just a slapstick comedy and with no substance or soul. So
Exactly. It would have just been milking it, to be honest.
yeah, exactly. Cash grab and all. So I agree. Definitely no sequel needed for that one.
Right. Yep. Yep.
All right, for our next film, Mama always said life was like a oh, never mind. You get the rest.
Hello, my name's Forrest Gump. Would you like a chocolate?
Oh, thank you.
It's funny what a young man recollects.
You're the same as everybody else. You are no different.
Your boy's different.
Are you stupid or something? Mama says stupid is as stupid does. I'm Jenny. I'm Forrest Gump.
She was my most special friend. My only friend. We was together all the time. We were like peas and carrots, Jenny and I.
Run, Forrest!
Hey, stupid!
Now, you wouldn't believe it if I told you, but I could run like the wind blows.
The history of the United States from 1950 to the 1970 unfolds from the perspective of an Alabama man with an IQ of 75 who yearns to be reunited with his childhood sweetheart. The film we are talking about is Forrest Gump, and the film is directed by Robert Zemeckis, and it came out in 1994. The film stars Tom Hanks, Robin Wright, Gary Sinise, and the ever lovable, again, Sally Fields. Now, this is another one that really hits home.
Oh yeah. One of my favorites.
Yeah, it's well, what I love about this one is that he's a simpleton. He's a simplistic person. He has a low IQ. But just because you have a low IQ does not mean that you don't see life in all its beauty and all its commonsensical perspectives.
Right. Right.
And it's almost like his character sees through all the bullshit, and he's like and he sees things for what they are, which is beautiful. It's a brutal honesty.
Yeah, it is a very childlike honesty too.
Yeah. Now, though, I do have one complaint about this, and I think it was maybe because at the time CGI was so innovative and brand new. It's like, fuck, wow, right?
Uh-huh.
The interjection of him influencing history with Kennedy and Nixon and so forth,
And
Elvis
John
Presley,
Lennon.
John Lennon, and these things, it got a little old. Maybe because I'd seen it so many times. I mean, my initial response to that was like, wow. But I'm like, okay. And it's like, okay, there's one too many of these things in there. But it was, don't get me wrong, it was cute.
I think when I first saw it, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe through like brand new, fresh eyes, first time seeing it, that's the experience right there.
Yeah, because I mean, keep in mind, I mean, to that point in history of film technology and special effects, that was not possible to put in a modern day actor in a sequence in an old film,
Right.
or or vice versa. And I mean, it was pretty neat. It was, but just watching it now, it almost felt like it was kind of like, oh wow, look what we can do, and look, we're gonna do it again. Isn't it cool? And we're gonna do it again. Forrest is talking to Nixon. Isn't that cool? Yeah. But
But that was the point, his journey throughout time, how he, kind of came to these, little moments in time where you're like, oh shit, Forrest was there. I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah, I mean, one thing that I liked that was kind of cool. I mean, where he influences Elvis in how to dance.
That was so cute.
That was hilarious. In fact, do you know who the voice of Elvis was?
Yes, Mr. Kurt Russell.
Mr. Kurt Russell, who played him in 1977.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he does a great Elvis.
Amazing. I was like, wow. I mean, that was really cool. In fact, their history goes back further. I think the film was called "It Happened at the World's Fair." You remember that film?
Oh, yes, 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 that's right. He's a little boy who kicks him on the knee.
Right. So it goes.
He pays him. He pays him to kick him in the knee so he could go see the pretty nurse.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And you know what's cool? I mean, I love me some Kurt Russell. Recently, well, actually, I think it was last year. I got to see the new film by Baz Luhrmann, the Elvis.
Oh, okay, yeah. I haven't
Yeah,
seen it yet.
yeah, with Austin Butler, which is fantastic. I mean, I'm going to tell you, the first few minutes of watching that, you're sitting there going, "That's not Elvis. Fuck that." And then eventually, like, that's Elvis.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, he really personifies the character really, really well. And I think his performance is one of the best Elvis performances ever on film.
I
Ever.
gotta check that out.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of glossed over his history of Elvis and so forth, but fuck it. To me, Kurt Russell, just out of nostalgia, he's still Elvis.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what did you think about Jenny?
Oh, Jenny, Jesus Christ, she was a bitch. She was a bitch. I mean, she mistreated her friendship and the love that he had for her so much. I mean, she went through so much crap that wasn't necessary.
Wow, you want to tell us what you really think?
Oh yeah.
No, I agree.
Oh,
I mean, his love for her was pure,
she didn't
and
deserve him.
no, and she was a fuck up. She was a junkie at one point, and she's with other men. And here's this one guy. Yeah, he was a simpleton. He had a low IQ, but the man had heart, and he experienced life. He experienced the world through these eyes of innocence.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And she, yeah, it was kind of messed up. And what does she do at the end?
She dies.
Yeah, she dies. I'm like, oh man. But yeah, I didn't care much for her character. But you know what? Maybe then again, there's a bit of reality in there.
I mean,
Uh,
she did go through some horrible trauma as a child.
yeah, but that's no excuse. Forrest couldn't walk and he was a moron. I'm sorry, that's politically incorrect, isn't it?
No, and truthfully, had she not been dying, would she have called him up and said, "Hey, I got your son over here"?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of messed up. But what he's like out of nowhere, she's like, oh, he's my son. Oh, what's his name? He's like, oh, it's Forrest.
I named him after his daddy.
And I love the line. Oh, he's like, oh, his daddy's name Forrest too? I thought that was so sweet, really. He's like, no, I named him after his daddy. Like, you bitch! All these fucking years.
5 years.
5 years. You're stringing this poor bastard along. He loves you, and you're fucking your life up. And then out of nowhere, it's like, I'm going to die. Forrest, take care of our son. Why didn't you tell him earlier?
That was sad. That was really, really. And you know what? What I loved most though in that particular scene was his reaction.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
and that's what I was talking about earlier, in that he sees life differently and more direct, without all the bullshit and emotion, and more common sense and logic.
Mhm.
That, yeah, I would be like, "You bitch, why didn't you tell me I had a kid all these years?" No, all he sees is the beauty of a little boy that's his son.
Yeah, and he says that he's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and now, oh my god, that was just the most touching moment ever.
Yeah, and if I was Jenny, I'd have felt like shit. Oh yeah, maybe I am a total bitch.
And you know what? He turned out to be a fucking phenomenal dad to that little
Yeah.
boy.
Oh, yeah, you know the kid was, right?
The little big-headed boy from, The Sixth Sense.
Big-headed kid. Fuck, if he didn't have a complex about then, that I hope he doesn't hear this podcast. He's like, "Oh man, I have a big head."
Look, dude, you were cute as a kid. That's all I can say about that.
But he's a damn good actor now, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but it's funny because I know it's messed up. I'm sorry, but his face stayed the same size. His head grew.
Yes, right?
He's like Haley Joel Osment with a bigger. Oh, it's a trip, but he's a fucking great actor. He's got a great sense of humor.
Oh, yeah, he's like one of the great child actors, he was awesome.
Yeah. And to me, the ending, it was a beautiful ending.
Yeah.
Which is his greatest adventure of all time. That's ahead of him.
And what I like is, like you say, he wasn't, very smart. As a matter of fact, I mean, if he would have been diagnosed in today's times, he would have been, considered autistic, maybe.
Right,
Or on the
right.
spectrum. But the life that he lived was just amazing. Was able to graduate from college. He went to Vietnam and actually freaking survived with all his limbs. Um,
Oh,
got the Congressional Medal of Honor, got to meet the president. I mean, that is a tremendous life.
or like he said, and another president, and another president.
Like he was bored,
It's like, yeah, I see these guys all the time. By the way, we were talking about the CGI, right?
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
And I think, my take on CGI is that it's overused
Right.
overall, but they used it here out of, where it was needed. It was used to augment a sequence or a scene. Like, for example, during the ping pong match,
Yes.
there was no ping pong ball.
There was and you know how, the guy told him, when he was teaching him how to play ping pong, not to take his eyes off of the ping pong.
Right.
He did not blink during those scenes when he was playing ping pong.
Fuck. So he was really he was focused. He was in the zone. It was totally believable. When I first saw the film, I believed it. I really did.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, damn, he's good.
Yeah. And or when Gary Sinise, whose character what was it, Lieutenant Dan?
Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan, he loses his legs in Vietnam.
Mhm.
And when he comes across him later on in years, he sees him again and he doesn't have his legs. I was watching the film and I was like, wow,
Fucking flawless.
flawless. I'm like, how the hell did they do that? And again, this was at the infancy of the CGI revolution.
Mhm.
So I think that's when they used it more sparingly and more.
Which is how I think you should use it, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to augment or to bring something out, not to replace.
Mhm.
In fact, I just recently saw The Fall Guy, the remake of the TV show with Ryan Gosling.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
And which is a damn good movie. I'll be dropping a review. In fact, I think at the time of this recording, the review would have been out already.
Oh, the
But
Flash review.
yeah, the Flash review should be out already. And it's a damn good film. And they mention in there, they allude to the use of practical effects and making it real and not, going computerized and stuff.
Mhm.
You just can't replace certain things. And that's what they do nowadays with a lot of films.
Yeah, for me, it comes across as lazy, to be honest.
It does. It really does. Now, Forrest Gump, played by Mr. Tom Hanks, he was not the first choice.
No, he wasn't.
Who? Tell me who else was
Oh, God. You know what? I had it written down.
see,
I just know of one that I feel. Oh, was it Bill Murray?
Bill Murray,
Dan Aykroyd,
John Travolta,
John Travolta.
and Chevy Chase.
Oh, Chevy Chase. There you go. Not done that quick.
Yeah. I don't.
Okay, but you know who his first choice was?
Who?
Bill Paxton.
Dude, Bill Paxton. Oh God,
He would have nailed it too, I think.
I think he would have been awesome. I mean, Bill Paxton to me would who he also unfortunately lost was an amazing actor.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah, but you know what's interesting is that the novelist, Winston Groom, he actually envisioned somebody more like John Goodman.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so who knows? But Tom Hanks just nailed it, and he became Forrest Gump forever.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now, did you know there is we do have Forrest and Dan's Shrimp Emporium, Bubba Gump.
Mhm. Oh yes, yes. Hmm.
It's like 13 of those restaurants.
You know, but which came first, the movie or the restaurants?
All the film.
Oh, okay. So it was so the restaurant was inspired by the film.
Ex- Absolutely. And no, actually, I said 13. There's actually 33 locations around the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sadly, I never got to go to one. Hopefully, in the future, I'll get to go.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to shut down. Hopefully not. Because a lot of these themed restaurants, they don't, they end up closing up. But this one, I would love to go.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So let's go into some numbers on this one.
Okay.
All righty. So the budget at the time, it was $55 million.
That's a
Ye-
lot.
Yeah, which is about $116 million today. And you can see where the budget goes. It's locations.
Right, exactly.
And of course the CGI. Box office at the time, get this, was $678 million.
Oh my God.
That is $1.4 billion in today's dollars.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, so you can understand, why a sequel was right away thought of and put into play, or why they wanted to do one. The movie was not just a big film, it was a phenomena. It became an iconic film. Everybody was saying stupid is and stupid does and stuff like that. They were
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember I was in high school when this movie came out, and everybody was talking about it. Older people and younger people, they loved it.
yeah, it transcended generations. And I think, it's because that's what the film does. It transcends literally story wise through generations.
Yeah,
And I think that's the effect it had on people, kids and teenagers and adults all just they appreciated and loved this film for what it was.
right, exactly.
Now, some reviews and scores. Mr. Roger Ebert, our favorite Chicago Sun-Times reporter, he wrote, "I never met anyone like Forrest Gump in a movie before, and for that matter, I've never seen a movie quite like Forrest Gump."
Wow.
I think that nails it right there.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and because I came out of the theater feeling like I was walking on clouds and just full of happiness and joy. It's just a beautiful, beautiful film.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and so audience that were polled by Cinema Score, they give this one an A plus.
Oh wow.
A plus, which is a rarity in Cinema Score polls. Not many films get the A plus.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. IMDb 8.8, Metacritic 82%, critic score 76%, audience score 95%.
Wow.
And then Letterboxd has this at a 4.1 out of 5.
It looks like it did pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. It was very well loved. I mean, not only was it a critical success, it was a financial success. People loved it. People quoted it. And again, it became an iconic phenomena of a film. Now, as for intended sequels, the screenplay for the sequel was written back in 2001.
Hmm.
And it was based on an original novel called Gump and Company, written by Winston Groom in 95.
Hmm.
And basically, the story starts where Forrest is sitting on a bench waiting for his son to come back from school,
Uh-huh.
which is kind of cute. I get that, that's kind of nice. But after the September 11 attacks, Zemeckis and Hanks, they decided, you know what? The story is no longer relevant. I guess the world had changed drastically overnight that they decided, yeah, It's just not the same.
Well, because I had heard, I don't know if it's true, but I heard that Forrest Gump was supposed to remarry and again lose his wife to like a some kind of bombing or a terrorist attack, and they were like, yeah, and this was,
Oh,
and 9/11 had just happened, so like, yeah, it's a little bit too soon.
yeah, no, exactly. I think it's kind of the same thing with that we had with Miss Doubtfire. Is that is a single story that says a lot, accomplishes a lot, and gives us a lot in the process. That you don't need anything else. If anything, what you do need, if you feel it, watch it again.
Exactly.
Yeah. So give us what's your brief review and your score. And we're going to do this out of 1 out of 10. Oh, you wanted to do this one, right?
I wanted to do that. 1 out of 10 boxes of chocolates.
All right. Boxes of. I was going to go with park benches, but chocolates is good.
Yeah.
All right. So let's hear your review on this.
Well, I thought it was a great movie. Again, great cast. Sally Fields was awesome. Um, well, the chick that played Jedi, what was her name? Robin Wright.
Robin Wright. Yes.
Yeah, I think she did an excellent job. As portraying the biatch. Um, no, she did a great job. God bless
She
her.
did. She was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the journey that it takes you on. And me being, what, I was about 15 at the time, maybe a little bit younger, give or take. You would think that a movie like this would have been boring to a kid. No, no, no. It was very engaging. I loved it. Yeah, and it's a movie that I love watching over and over again. Good comfort movie. So that being said, I would like to give it. Damn, you see, this is one of the movies that it's just hard
Right.
to lowball, but I mean, I'm gonna give it 9.5 boxes of chocolates.
All right. All right. That's another decent score, I think. So for me, it was just a sweet film. It really, you reevaluate your own life after watching a film like this.
Hmm.
You think, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. And you have this character who's a simpleton and has everything against them and accomplishes so much in his life, and helps you reevaluate what the beauty of the life is and appreciate for what it is. Zemeckis' direction on point. One of my all-time favorite directors. Tom Hanks, Robin Wright, Sally Field, amazing. Every single one of them. Gary Sinise, who we barely mentioned, he was incredible.
Oh yeah, this jump started his career.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm going to give this also a 9.5 box of chocolates out of 10.
Yep.
Yeah,
Great movie. Great movie.
Great film. Awesome. So sequels or not? What do you think?
I think it could have been possible to do a sequel. I think it would have been doable. Have another string of adventures, going out throughout time. I think it would have worked.
Okay.
But was it really needed? I don't think so. I think it was fine. Like you said, it's one of those movies that if you want more, just go back and rewatch it, and it's still gonna hit that chord.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I sequel or not, definitely, I'd have to go no sequel overall. I mean, look, we see his life, we see his adventures, his accomplishments,
Hmm.
and now he's off to his final adventure in life, the greatest adventure of all time, which is fatherhood.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's a beautiful ending just as that. We don't need to see his further adventure as a father. I think we can be left with what would it be like and have that image or feeling or idea in our heart and in our mind.
Hmm.
And that's where it belongs, because that's where this movie is. It's in your heart.
Exactly. And it
Yeah,
would have been nice to see, him raising his child and all the trials and tribulations, maybe even leading up to his death. But I think it would have been redundant. It would have just been,
right. And I think it goes without saying is that he's had a great adventure in life, or multitude of adventures, and fatherhood that's his next adventure. And he will pass on that legacy to his
exactly.
son. And
Exactly.
And do we need to see it? No. Would we like to? Yeah, but we can see that in our hearts and mind and leave it to the imagination. And I think that's the best kind of ending that you can have for a film.
And if you still really want to see what happens to Forrest Gump, you can always read the book.
There you go. Read the book.
Mhm.
There you, yeah, which I've been tempted to check out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So now let's go with some further recommendations of other films. We're going to go with 2 Tom Hanks films and 2 Robin Williams films.
Okay, let's hear it.
The Green Mile with Tom Hanks.
Ooh, damn. Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you who have not seen it, and we highly recommend this one. It's based on a novel written by none other than Stephen King himself.
Yeah, which I had no idea that he wrote this movie. That this the book, was it?
Yeah.
You couldn't tell. I mean, it was beautiful. It was sad. Damn.
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing about Stephen King is that you ever see The Shawshank Redemption?
Yes. Yep.
Stephen King.
That was an amazing movie.
What was the other one? Stand By Me.
Another one. Yeah.
Stephen King. So he wrote some beautiful stuff. But if you haven't got a chance to see it, The Green Mile is an amazing film. Another Tom Hanks film, Apollo 13.
Ooh, yep. Another with Sinise, right?
Gary Sinise is back in this as well.
Yep.
And that was directed by Ron Howard, I believe. And that's an amazing, just great film.
Yes.
Now, for Robin Williams, I recommend What Dreams May Come.
Oh, beautiful movie. Beautiful.
And it's a great film. It's inspired by Dante's Inferno.
Yes.
And I had read Dante's Inferno a couple times before I'd seen the film. And I thought it was going to be an adaptation, and it wasn't, but it is definitely inspired by. And it's about a man who's so in love with his wife, and she dies in a car accident.
With the kids, no?
No. Actually, what she commits suicide.
She does, because the kids die in the car accident.
Exactly. So with
and
that,
him, right?
Right. And he knows that she's going to hell. So he travels to hell to rescue her and bring her back. And it's just a beautiful, the color palette on this film is just amazing.
Oh, yeah. Visually beautiful.
Yeah. And I just don't understand why it didn't do as well as it should have, but it was just a beautiful, beautiful film.
Yeah, definitely give that movie a chance. You won't be disappointed.
Yes. And now another Robin Williams film, which is also underrated, but I thought, now I'm going to be honest, when I first saw this one, I was like, it sucks. But then I was very harsh at one point, and now I watch anything. But when I saw it the second time, it was just a beautiful, beautiful film. It's called Patch Adams.
Oh, I've never seen that one. I remember that movie came out when I was working in Blockbuster.
Yes, great movie. He plays a children's doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just imagine Robin Williams, and he's dealing with children who have cancer.
Oh,
yeah, it's a fucking heartbreaker, but it's a beautiful film. So definitely Tom Hanks, Robin Williams, great actors, great film filmography. But those 4 films we just recommended, we highly recommend. You got to check them out.
Yes, please do.
Yes. So now let's go on further with what I got a few films here that should never have gotten sequels.
Okay.
Never have gotten fucking sequels. Okay. I mean, these are the ones you watch and you go, oh my God, that is so stupid, or you get pissed.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. Let's hear it.
Now, here's one that I mentioned briefly earlier in the episode, Son of the Mask, which is...
And I never seen that one.
Oh, God, it is
Reason.
horrible.
Thank God.
Yeah. I mean, what made The Mask so great?
Oh, freaking Jim Carrey.
Right. And this one did not have Jim Carrey. He did not want to do the sequel. And they got, what's his name? Seth Green or something like that?
Oh, shoot. Okay. I had no idea.
Yeah, it was horrible. Horrible film. Another one, and this was, again, the original, I love. But the sequel was god awful. The movie is RoboCop 2.
I never seen it.
Oh, geez. Oh, it's bad.
I'm very skeptical about sequels.
Yeah, well, especially if the original this is so specifically good and well structured, because the original RoboCop is it's political and social satire,
Hmm.
and it's a biting commentary on corporate America and politics and government and so forth.
Hmm.
All of that was gone in the sequel.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and because it was a different director. Because the original was directed by Paul Verhoeven,
Okay.
and he's there's what they call the Dutch trilogy:
Okay.
Total Recall,
Oh,
RoboCop, and Starship Troopers.
all movies that I loved.
Great films, and they all had that biting social, satire commentary about them. So when they did a RoboCop 2, it was just empty and bland, and it was bad. It was bad. And now in the final one, now I liked the original just enough. It was a 90s horror film. The sequel was horrible.
Okay.
Remember I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Oh yeah, yeah, I love that movie.
It was great, right? So
Yeah.
they come out with the sequel. And what do they call it? They fucking call it I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh god, yeah. I think I seen all of them, and it's just oh come on, talk about milking franchise.
Oh, it was horrendously bad. I mean, just it was bad. It was bad. But when I heard the title, I was in a theater and they played the trailer for this, and it's like, this happened and that happened, and I still know, which I get at oh Jesus.
You know what? It wasn't much different than the Scream franchise, where they kept on coming out with a different killer. Like who was it? It was the mom. It was they kept on coming out with different killers that were kind of related to the original killer.
Yeah, they there's another Scream coming out. So
Oh god, the last one was awful.
yeah, wasn't Jenna Ortega was in that one,
Jenna
right?
Ortega was in that. Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
she's awesome. She's very cute, but yeah, it's sad. It was awful. I love crappy ass horror movies.
Yeah,
This,
yeah.
this was just too much. It was so predictable. I hated it.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad, and because the first one, and with a lot of films that have sequels, the original is such a unique concept. It's such a original story, and it's so refreshing and new
Mhm.
that they try to recycle. And there's very few sequels that are able to refresh it
Yeah.
with the sequels, but this
Yeah.
was definitely one of them.
My thing is, if you like Scream so much, you want to watch, some more Scream, watch Scary Movie. Now that right there was awesome.
Those were, I enjoyed up to Scary Movie 3.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, beyond that, they kind of got redundant and just kind of silly and stupid. But no, those first 3 are just, yeah.
Yeah,
They're,
freaking
they're
awesome.
good. They're good stuff. All right, so what do you say we start closing this down?
Okay, yeah.
All right, so next week, make sure you tune in because we will be discussing the original versus the remake.
Ooh.
So be sure to tune in and find out which film we'll be covering regarding that. So, with that being said, we really hope you've enjoyed the show. Please help to support the pod by giving us a 5-star rating or leave us a good review. Another way you can help to support the pod is simply to subscribe and or follow us on Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Audible, Boomplay, or wherever you get your podcast fix. Also, don't forget to swing by our Facebook group. Leave us a message. Let us know how we're doing. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok. Also, check out our YouTube channel. We have all of our current episodes on there as well. All these links, they're in the show notes below. You can also contact us directly at thefilmjoepod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. So, Daisy,
Yes.
final thought of the day.
Well, life is a box of chocolates. You really never know what you're going to get. I know
All
that
right.
that was bad, but that's all I
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. All right, I'll give you an E for effort on that one, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, and with that being said, I'm Joe.
I'm Daisy,
And this is the Film Joe Podcast.
where film talk happens.